On Wednesday, April 17th, Colorado held its breath.
There's no school today in much of the Denver area while police search for a young woman considered to be armed and extremely dangerous.
Officials are now seeking this 18-year-old woman said to be armed and dangerous.
An 18-year-old woman had traveled to Colorado and purchased a pump-action shotgun after making threats towards Colorado schools.
More than 500,000 students were told to stay home.
This must have been extremely credible for them to take this so seriously.
Now, students are raising their voice.
Something needs to be done, especially if so many schools are under attack and if so many children are feeling unsafe.
When I heard about what was going on with all the school violence and with Castleview being shut down, I was honestly really confused because I didn't really understand what had happened.
So what went through my mind first is just the sad feeling of mental health and where we're at with that. Beyond that, just how sudden it was that we were all going into lockdown for a potential threat.
The first thing was disappointment. As a country of supposed freedom and dreamers, we still haven't been able to manage and restrict basic rights. And I'm not saying that these rights should be taken away. I myself own a firearm and am trained with a P238, and I respect the ability to be able to protect yourself in the modern day, but I don't think that teenagers, with our fluctuation in mood sometimes, with an inability to reach out and talk about mental health, with insufficient health care within our country, I don't think that those individuals should have such easy access to weapons.
After Pius arrived in Colorado, she went to Colorado Gunbroker, a gun store located just 2 miles from Columbine. She passed a criminal background check and was able to buy a pump-action shotgun. Colorado Gunbroker said they had no reason to suspect she was a threat to either herself or anyone else.
She had Instagram records, there's many records all over the web that they could have checked for, but the only thing they check for is felonies. Is she a felon? Is she not a felon? She wasn't a felon, so they said, you know what, we can give her a gun. But if they had checked, they would have noticed that she had a lot of records that said she was, infatuated with Columbine. Probably would have been a trigger for a reason why they maybe wouldn't have given her a gun.
With someone coming in from a different state, not able to rent a car, but able to buy a firearm within a new state, is something that should not be able to be done anywhere. We have some of the strictest gun laws in the entire nation, and still they shut down, 500,000 kids going to school for a day because one woman posed such a legitimate threat.
Every day, over 2,000 students attend Castleview High School, and with school shootings increasing since Columbine, safety is obviously a priority for the school.
Well, we have a lot of different policies in place for different situations like lockout drills, lockdown drills. We're put on kind of a heightened awareness. We have armed security that will actually come to our school. Pretty much we have a lot of different resources that we use.
Even with all the security precautions taking place, do students feel safe at school? Student Nora Williams had to think about this.
I'd like to say yes, but obviously we had a day off of school just because there was a threat. So, anything could happen at any moment, so I actually kind of know.
I usually feel safe at school because for the most part we have security precautions. We have people who want to take care of us and whose goal is to take care of us.
For the most part, we are very protected, and the reason that it happens is not because there's a lack of security, it's because there's a mentally unstable person that is behind the attack.
While everyone had different opinions regarding the situation, there was one thing most everyone could agree on: change needs to occur.
I think we have a real problem.
I think change needs to be made.
Something needs to change other than just making our schools more and more prison-like.
There's so many guns in our community. I was a policeman for 30 years. I think there should be much stricter laws.
Something needs to change more than just the United States government calling this something that's bound to happen.
Because there shouldn't be any reason that a student who's protected at school and at home by adults should need to have a gun with them for protection.
More than just the NRA telling us that instead of individuals changing legislation, the only way to stop a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun, because it never happens. Something needs to be done, especially if so many schools are under attack and if so many children are feeling unsafe.
JJ.
And I'm Shannon.
Welcome to CVTV.
Recently, Avengers Endgame came out and at the moment has earned over $1.5 billion.
Let's see how CV students reacted.
Last Friday, one of the biggest events in film history premiered, shattering box office records and crushing people's expectations of what a film could be. Avengers Endgame shocked crowds of millions even with a 3-hour and 2-minute runtime. This cultural phenomenon started in 2008 when Iron Man first flew onto the scene and blew expectations out of the water. Now, 11 years later, people are still, if not even more, interested in these character stories. With the latest film of the MCU destroying pre-sale records and becoming a hot topic at CVTV wanted to know, why do people still care about these stories and characters even after 22 films?
Because this is a moment in history. It's like the first showing of Star Wars, you know? Like that's like something that you're like, wow. Like this is like, opening night.
It makes me watch them. I like them.
I watched these comics when I was younger. That's why I'm a big fan of the Avengers movies. I just love cartoons, and it's cool that they made them into movies. And I've watched them since the very first Captain America all the way until the Endgame, which I'm going to go see next week.
My dad introduced me to comics when I was but a child. And ever since then, I've really gotten attached to it. And as each movie gets more and more epic, I've been more and more into it. And I like it a lot.
I like Captain America. Sometimes I like the sarcasm of Tony Stark. I like that.
Iron Man.
Yeah, that too.
My favorite character is Captain America, right here. I like Captain America, I like what he stands for. He's just, the guy. So, and he's your go-to guy, and he's going to save the world every single time.
When I saw Avengers, it was like a whole new level of a cinematic masterpiece. Like, it was just like, whoa, like they can do, so I hadn't seen the level of expertise in superhero movies until I saw Avengers.
Part of the journey is the end.
Last Wednesday, LSL4 students went on a field trip.
They went to visit dogs who are training to help deaf people and their everyday struggles.
Today we're visiting the International Hearing Dog headquarters up in Henderson, Colorado.
And so they're basically training dogs to help deaf or hard of hearing people.
We're here to see the impact that hearing dogs can have for deaf people and how they can help them a lot in their daily lives.
Something I really learned today is that it takes a lot of work to take care of them and get them to the best part that they can be.
I learned how long it takes to train the dogs and how much dedication they have to put to be a really good partner for the deaf people. They have to be trained for 6 to 8 months, which is really interesting.
Adorable. I think the best part of my day was meeting some of the dogs. They're so cute and they're so lovable.
Thank you for joining us for CVTV.
You can follow us on YouTube at CV Student Media.
Or follow our website on cvstudentmedia.com.
Once again, I'm Shannon.
And I'm JJ.
And we'll see you next week on CVTV.